I think we are ready to start. Hello, everyone. I'm Diana Philip, and I'm Deputy CEO J Europe, which you probably are very familiar with, especially from your country's activities. You've been engaged in our company program across the 40 markets where we operate. And I don't know whether you know, but you're very, very, very special. There have been over 300,000 young people in the program this year across Europe, and only 37 best teams make it to Brussels for this competition. And I know that you are very looking forward to it, and you want to really do your best, and there are a couple of tips and tricks we want to give you before you come to Brussels, and we also have some special awards that you could compete on. So the reason why we are doing this webinar is really to help you get better prepared for your trip to Brussels, but also we will provide you some useful tips that you could use later on in the future. And this special webinar is done in partnership with our friends from ManpowerGroup. I will tell you a little bit more about them, and they will help us really understand the world of work, and you need to really get ready to answer some of their tricks and tips at the event in Brussels on how to get ready for work. And I don't know, you've probably seen the website where we have some information about the Ready for Work Manpower Group Award. And there are several things that they are talking about there. What's the criteria to win the award? What you need to do? You will hear more about that today. They also talk about learnability, which I'm sure that for most of you this is a new concept. And that's all about what you already know. Is less about what you already know and more about your capacity to learn. So our partners from Manpower Group will tell you more about that. Now let me give you just a couple of words about Manpower Group, because probably you are wondering what are they doing. So just imagine in a few years, some of you might become an entrepreneur, but some of you might be looking for jobs. Now, Manpower Groups help you find work and connects millions of people across the globe in 80 countries with the jobs that exist out there. So it's really the perfect place for you to go after you are done with your studies and you are looking for further opportunities. And Manpower Group is really about understanding the skills the employer needs, what are they looking for, and making this bridge between what you need and the world of work. So I'm very, very happy to have today on this webinar two of our partners, and I will ask both of them to turn on their cameras. I will start with Joe Pursail, who's Director of Talent at Manpower Group UK. And it will follow Corina Bianca Gontianu, who's the Strategic Director of Marketing Europe. So both of them will tell us a little bit more about their work, about the award, and help you prepare better for the competition coming up in a few weeks in Brussels. Joe, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, hi everyone. Very happy to be here and joining you today. And I am, as Deanna said, I'm the Director of Talent for Manpower Group. And my role is all about really our people, finding the right people for our business, developing them through training programs, through on-the-job learning, and ensuring that they really get the coaching and support that they need to be successful in their career and really have a meaningful career with us. Now, I can't see the slides, so I don't know why I can't see the slides. So I will just look at another screen. So in terms of what we'll be covering today in this session, so 4 things. Firstly, what are the most in-demand jobs and where are they? And then we're going to look at how the world of work is changing, and to share some insights with you around that. And then critical for you, at this time I know it's important for you, as Deanna said, about learnability. So some top tips help you get ready for work and to nurture your learnability. We'll talk some more about what we mean by learnability. And then we'll finish off with your questions. So do be submitting questions, happy to answer those at the end of the session. So let's start by looking at, you know, what are some of those really in-demand skills in the workplace? So each year, ManpowerGroup asks more than 40,000 employers about positions that they are struggling to fill. And our results tell us there are many opportunities available all over the world. And when you're thinking about the kind of job that you might want, it's important to consider your interests, your passions, what you are good at. That is absolutely the place to start. But also, it's helpful to think about where some of these opportunities might be. So as you look at this slide, this shows some of those growth sectors. So you can see on here skilled trades up there at the top. Unsurprisingly, IT staff, sales representatives, engineers, and so on. So I think this is important to be thinking about, but also remember that as digitalization continues, that human connection, that connection with people, so that creativity, caring, compassion, connecting with people is still going to be more important than ever. So then just moving on, as Deanna said, you know, ManpowerGroup does operate in more than 80 countries. And another thing we look at is where those jobs are, where those opportunities are the greatest. And the good news is that Europe is looking optimistic, and our latest survey showed positive hiring intentions, so the majority of employers do plan to add more people. But on this slide as well, we can see globally where those opportunities are. So if you do get a chance to explore beyond your city or even your country, then consider taking it. The world is your oyster. So you can see here Japan, Taiwan, Romania, and these are the countries on the slide. So some high hiring intentions. So be thinking about that as you think about your opportunities and your career. So this is a really interesting statistic, I think. The most exciting thing is that more than 65% of you will go on to do jobs that don't even exist there. And this is because things are changing at such an incredible pace with technology. So if you think even now there are jobs that didn't exist a few years ago, if you think of app developers or cybersecurity, these types of roles that are available now, and that will continue. So in years to come, new jobs will be created that we don't even know of today. And this is because technology, we all know, we live and breathe this. Technology is changing the way that we live and work. We experience this in our daily lives. And this will, of course, have implications for you and the work that you go on to do. So you've probably already got some idea of the areas that you might be interested in. And now is the time to really be thinking about that as you think about, you know, the type of work that you want to do in the future. And employers know this too, you know, this impact of technology. So more than 9 in 10 have told us that they expect their business to change as a result of digitization. So yeah, lots of changes in the world of employment. So So what we're talking about here at Manpower Group is the skills revolution. Very exciting time. You know, here's the question: are you ready for the skills revolution? So what we mean by this is, because of this constant pace of change, people will need to continue to keep upskilling all throughout their careers, and upskilling and adapting to this fast-changing world of work. And this session today is really to help you to get ready, and to help you to think about how you can prepare for work. So this concept of the skills revolution. So skills are the new currency, and I would say that your skills are the most important thing that you can develop. So yes, that includes things like your technical skills, your maths, science, but probably just as important, or more importantly, are those softer skills that I mentioned before that help to build that human connection. So things like creativity. You know, the computers can't necessarily do that for us. So new and different ways of thinking about things. Emotional intelligence, I would say, always has and continues to be even more important. So your understanding of yourself and how you relate to other people in the workplace is so important. And then we talk about also cognitive flexibility. So being able to adapt because of this fast pace of change, being able to adapt, being able to deal with uncertainty, or being able to gather information and make decisions. These skills will be very important. So we've talked about this concept of learnability. Now is the time to nurture your learnability. We're very focused on it here at Manpower Group as well. This week is Learnability Week. And so what does it mean? What do we actually mean by this term? So it is the desire and ability to grow and adapt to new circumstances and challenges throughout your work life. So it's really about constantly trying out new things and continuously adapting to keep learning and growing your skills. So to try and bring it to life a little more, if you think about music performers, for example, they don't just stay still. They don't just play the same music over and over. They need to continue to adapt their style. A classic example is probably Madonna. She's had a very long music career and continues to. And part of her success was through that constant reinventing herself, exploring new styles, and that has kept her current and still interesting to her audience. And there'll be many examples of that. I talk a lot about learning because it's my job. I think it's important to role model it, and typically the learning process, when you learn something new, I would say it's about having a go, and then sometimes when you have a go at something new, some bits work, some bits don't necessarily. Mistakes are part of the learning process. So it's about then reflecting, adapting, and then trying again. And it's a continuous process. If you think about anything new that you've done, whether it's learning to swim or riding a bike or learning to ski or whatever it is, you will probably go through that process. And the more things that you try and the more things that you embrace, the more skills and confidence that you will build. This is really a mindset for life, I would say. And to help you nurture your or understand your learnability, we have developed this learnability assessment. And again, it's just helpful for you to understand when you might be at your best and how you can effectively learn. So, for example, you can see on the slide, so are you a scholar? Do you have a thirst for knowledge? Or are you a free spirit? Or are you a planner, where you like to think ahead? This is useful to understand about yourself. And I've done my own learnability assessment. So for me, I am a thinker, which is I balance street smarts with book learning. I'm a free spirit, so I do like to forge my own path, and I am a thrill seeker. So afraid of the unknown, interesting. But I would say that's useful for me to know because these are all important in my job. Um, so this is useful information, and hopefully useful information for you too. So as I say, we do have a learnability assessment, um, and you can see here on. Can you see on the slide? Um, it's at www.learnability.com. So I would really recommend that you go to the site and have a go and see what you can learn about your own learning style. So let's move on now to the practical tips. Hopefully some tips that can really help you. 5 ways that you can build your learnability. So the first tip is have a go. Have a go and keep your options wide open. This links back to the point I was making earlier. So yes, of course, college is important educationally and culturally, but what you might learn there on its own won't necessarily be enough to equip you for today's job market. So we say at ManpowerGroup, it's important to get practical work experience early. And an interesting fact here is that students who have 4 or more contacts with employers while in school are more likely to be employed at the age of 19 to 24 and 5 times less likely to be jobless. So that connection with employers and practical work experience is so important. Whether that is opportunities through junior achievement, whether that is through work experience, or it could be weekend or temporary jobs. These things all nurture curiosity and will help you just, with that desire to explore new things. Also, what it'll help you with is to understand where your passion lies. The more things that you do, the more you will learn what you like, and just as importantly, what you don't necessarily like. It's really about exploring the options and seeing what's right for you. And if I share an example of my own personal experience, so when I left school, I went on to college, to sixth form college, and I did A levels. But it didn't actually work for me at that time, and it just felt a bit too much, a bit theoretical. It was just for me at that time on those particular courses. And about 4 weeks in, my mum sat me down and said, let's talk about this, you're not happy. And a long story short is I ended up going to a further education college instead. I did a much more practical vocational course, actually a BTEC diploma. And there I learned field work, I learned how to give presentations, I learned how to do research and report writing, and I will say it stood me in very good stead actually for my my working career. So the point is, it's really about trying things out, keeping an open mind and seeing what works for you. So the second tip is being able to adapt. And we've talked about this already. Being able to adapt is more important than career security. So you may have heard your parents talking about a job for life. Before you reach the age of 30, you will probably have done more roles than your parents in their entire career. And that's because in this environment where we talked earlier about skills constantly changing, new jobs being created, employability is less about what you do and more about your capacity to learn. So by focusing on this learnability, the desire to learn and adapt, and skills to remain employable, you will be the generation that redefine career security. And that's quite exciting. So So tip 3, take advantage of technology. We live in this digital world, and we know that plenty of future opportunities will come from the STEM related jobs, so science, technology, engineering, maths. But we also need to consider, so women, in fact, are unfortunately likely to be, or could be negatively impacted here because they are underrepresented in some of these fields. We at ManpowerGroup know that we need to continue to remove barriers for girls and women to be able to study in these areas, because the fact is, it is about pursuing your passion, and the key is really exploring that and figuring that out, because there is no right or wrong, and there's no such thing as a man's job or a woman's job. And really think about this with an open mind, and really think about what you enjoy and what you are passionate about. So then on tip 4, and I guess I've already started to talk about this. Find out what you care about. It may sound cliched, and it's not always possible, but it is important to do something that you are interested in and ideally passionate about. So I always remember a quote from Steve Jobs. He said that the only way to do great work is to love what you do, because that passion and that energy will just take you, from being okay at what you do to really exceptional. And we know that for you, the millennial generation, that this sense of purpose is important. And isn't it, it's great to have a sense of purpose in what you do. And we know that you care about communities, about giving back, and that you look for that in your employer. And we take that very seriously, providing that sense of purpose and providing meaningful work to people. And we can certainly also learn a lot from your generation, from this kind of sense of purpose. Have that in mind. And then tip 5, last tip really, is bring your best self to everything you do. Be present and really, I guess, throw yourself into things. Kind of connected back to having a go. Some of the most inspiring people that we meet, they do have that balance of, yes, an interesting job, but interesting lives outside of work as well. And diversity of experience does bring more of a diverse perspective. It enables you to broaden your view, broaden your horizons, and yeah, develop maybe a better judgment in your professional work situations as well. So seek out different experiences, diverse opportunities, meet different people, maybe who do different jobs from your parents, explore outside of your school. Maybe your country if you can. It was actually when I left college, so when I was 18, and I would say I was probably quite a timid teenager actually. And I remember my mum had the conversation with me, why don't you go and work in another country and just broaden your horizon? And I wasn't sure at the time, but I gave it some thoughts, and I did. So I went to work in France for a year, and it was outside of my comfort zone, but it massively boosted my confidence and broadened my horizons. So think about these things. What might it be for you? How can you broaden your horizons and get out of your comfort zone? So those are the 5 tips from me. So I will hand over now, I think, to Karina to take us through the next slides, and then we'll come to some questions.
I hope you're hearing me all right. Okay. I guess there is an echo.
Yeah, it's a very bad echo.
Okay, let's see. Um, So hello everyone, my name is Corina Guantano. I am also with ManpowerGroup. I am their Strategic Director of Marketing, and I will also be on the jury of the ManpowerGroup Signature Award in, well, about 2 weeks. And the reason that I am ending this presentation after Joe's very thorough and very friendly walk through the concept of learnability and its use and its importance to all of us, is that I want to give you a few pointers about winning our Ready for Work Award. We created our Ready for Work Award in order to recognize that your progress throughout the JA Company program and your experience as budding entrepreneurs are preparing you for the world of work. And in the world of work, as Joe said before, you will be doing a lot of things, maybe not necessarily in the same sequence as your parents. And if you can be an entrepreneur and you can go back to school and then you can be employed and then become again an entrepreneur, because that is how the world of work works for your generation. So that is very, very important. That is very, very important to be ready for work in whatever shape it comes. And with this award this year, we want to recognize how you got yourself ready for work with the JA Company program. And we also want to recognize how you've exercised learnability, because all of you have demonstrated that you have a willingness to learn and to expand just by participating in the program. So, take a moment, you do have time, look over your plans, look over your progress over the past few months and reflect on your learning. And think about how you've learned, what you've learned, how you filled some of the gaps in the information or in the knowledge that you have over the course of the project. What happened when you did not know something? What did you do? So what we're saying in terms of the criteria for our award is that we're looking at the process of skill improvement, which is, very technically put, but in practice it means how you approached your own skills. If you knew something, how you put it in practice, and how you developed it. And if you didn't know something, how did you reach out and learn? And how did you teach your colleagues in the team? How did you work together? And then the other question is how you exercise those skills during the project. If you are very good at public speaking, is that exercise when you presented to the juries? If you are very good at programming, is that part of the of your project? And how have you used your skill to advance your company? And finally, how capable are you to think about these things and about where you are and where you want to go and to take action upon that? So the self-reflection and action, these are the criteria that our jury, who is made up of people who really do know business and who really do know the world of work, because they all come from ManpowerGroup, who does know the world of work for almost 70 years now. These are the things that our jury will be looking for when they will be talking to you. And some of these things you will not be able to cover in your presentations because you have all the business plan that you need to cover, and you have all the financials and the marketing that you need to present in those very brief minutes that you get standing up in front of your jury. But it is important to be ready to talk about this when the jury comes along at the stands, and to be able to tell them what you've learned. Also important, and it will be a point for you with the jury, is if you think about how you looked at the skills of the team, how you've allocated roles in the team, how you thought about employing people, how you see yourselves and your team developing as a group in the next few years. And obviously, we're giving a few bonus points
for the company whose work not only had an impact upon their own work readiness and learnability, but also upon promoting work readiness and learnability for others. And there are projects out there that do that. So and they might earn the 3 additional points. So make sure you meet the other criteria very well, because the prize is very nice. We are giving the opportunity to the willing team to have a mentorship with one of our senior leaders that will help you bring your company even more to market, and learn from somebody who actually runs a business day in, day out. And obviously, if you want to learn more, including who the jury is and what they think about learnability and work readiness and what is their experience, you can visit the Manpower Group microsite on the JA Europe Company of the Year competition site. And I am very, very grateful to have had a chance to talk to all of you. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed for everybody. And I hope to meet you all in person on the 11th and the 12th of July.
Thank you very much, Corina. I think this was very clear, and we all agree that this webinar will be available for all the teams, because we know that there are some teams who couldn't make it for today. We wanted to make sure we record it, and we will make it available for everyone, so they all have the same opportunities to compete and win this award. So I'm just checking if there are any questions. I think, Davide, would you like to tell us how you want to proceed? You want them to write in the chat?
Yes, actually, is what we asked the attendees. You can post your question in the question chat box, or raise your hand. I'll try to monitor that. But yeah. So post your questions in the question box if you have any questions regarding the presentation of Joe about skills to employability, or the awards criteria for the awarded Company of the Year competition. This is the right time to post your question.
Well, I'm sure that many of you are still digesting this. It's a lot of information that you've received today. So I think the first slides, it's more like background information for you, so that you can really prepare for the award. And what you need to be preparing for the competition is what Corina was mentioning, the work criteria, and those information you also have it on the website. So you can go there and you will be able to review this webinar and read more about the learnability and about the work that Manpower Group is doing. So I can probably understand that there are a lot of things that you still need to consider. Not sure if there were any questions in the meantime, Davide?
I don't see any post or any raised hand. But I just wanted to mention that, oh yeah, just came one question. Just a second. Valentin Meyer is asking, beside the presentation, how can we deliver this information to the judges?
Corina, do you want to answer that?
What I suggested, what you can always do is have some sort of material at the stand. You can always have like a sheet that says something about your learning or your learning process, because I know you've already submitted your reports. But that's not necessary, and you should, I mean, if you want, you can, but you shouldn't be very worried about it, because the judges are there to ask you specifically questions about this. So the judges for the signature award are specifically looking at your readiness for work and learnability. So they will come and ask questions if you don't volunteer the information, if you don't offer the information yourself. So you should not worry that you haven't prepared something. But if you want to prepare something for them to remember you, you can always have a little piece at the stand that speaks about your learning process.
Thank you, Corina. And also, what you should have a look on the website. We have a very, very high level panel of judges from Manpower Group. So it's really a privilege to have so many executives coming to speak with you. So please, please do prepare and have a look at all the criteria. Make sure you ask questions because this is really a good opportunity for you to be in touch with these people. Thank you, Davide, for showing the website.
Actually, I have a questions to what Joe presented in the beginning, since some of you students may know that we have an alumni group, which is a group of former students of JA that are continuing their activity with JA as volunteers and ambassadors. And since many of them are just finishing the university at this point, how do you see a JA student in the world of work? I mean, is a JA student, in your opinion, when you're doing some interviews or you're reviewing some curricula, is a JA student with these entrepreneurial skills that he learned during the JA program more likely to, more appealing to businesses, to employers, and why?
Yeah, I would say absolutely, and I think it links back to the point of when you have more early connections, work experience with employers, then you are more likely to be employed in the long term, and it is. I guess it also connects back to the example I gave about developing those practical vocational skills for work, because having going to university is one thing, but it's about rounding yourself out as an individual and getting yourself work ready. So JA individuals that will have had more exposure to employment and building their skills and building their perspective, that's going to absolutely put them in a much stronger position.
Thank you very much. Not more hands raised. I just wanted to remember to the attendees that the webinar has been recorded, so it will be available on the website soon. And that if you have any further question that pops up in your mind, do not hesitate to contact us, and we will come back to you with the reply.
And don't forget to do your learnability assessment.
Yeah, do the learnability assessment, please. Okay, now last minute questions. I
just wanted to ask you and Corina if they have any final comments before we close this webinar.
Oh, just like my colleague said, do your learnability assessment, because who knows, the judges may ask, and they may even tell you their own learnability. I am a scholar, a free spirit, and a thrill seeker. So I'm curious to find out what type of learner you are.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for taking time to present these slides to us today. Thank you very much to the young learners for joining the webinar, and we will make this available to everyone, and looking forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.